All right. What's up? What's up? Check in with me. I'm back. I'm back. Check on me. Check on me. Microphone check. 1 2 1 2. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'll wait because I know it's a delay. I'll let you know as soon as I see your response. Yes. Okay. Let's rock. All right. Because everybody else can file in as they get in. So you going through the stages of grief, and I read that to you, so I'm gonna reread it. I said the 5 stages. Now I believe in some cases people understand there's maybe 7 stages of grief. Yeah. So there's 7 stages of grief: the shock, denial, anger, bargaining, depression, testing, and acceptance. Thank you. What I think, based on what you shared with me, you have been going through a testing, and you definitely went through shock. I don't know about denial, but that's a huge part of the grieving process. Anger, I'm sure. And then there's some bargaining, especially with testing, even definitely depression. But now the last stage is acceptance. That's when you stop all that. Well, let me see if it can work again, or I'm gonna give them another chance, or like the testing. For me, I don't know what they mean by testing, but what I think about testing is you test out the waters with somebody, try to give them another opportunity to try with them again. And this here says symptoms of grief usually resolve after 1 or 2 years. Now, but that all depends on what you're grieving, honestly. What's the hardest grief? The death of a husband or wife is well recognized as an emotionally devastating event. Being ranked on life's event scales is the most stressful of all possible losses. Damn, we gotta have to live forever. So I would assume deaths of a relationship is one of the hardest ones to deal with. Mm. Now this says 6 healthy ways to accept death. Let's see. Mm. That's what I tell you all the time. It says take your time to mourn. It always takes a while for me to accept that loved ones are gone. It's been less than 2 weeks since their aunt passed and it hasn't fully set in. So grief has a variety of variables, including age, duration of the relationship, and the type of death, traumatic, natural, sudden, etc., that play into how one processes death. Okay. In other words, we all face different circumstances with loss. I just said that, right? So it makes sense that we all take different amounts of time. I literally just said that. Okay. Also, don't set a time for yourself where you say, okay, I'm gonna be done with grieving this by Valentine's 2025. Don't set time limits on you because you'll get to that time and you'll go, damn, this shit still hurt. I thought I'd be over this by now. Don't do that. Let it happen naturally. What else? Remember how the person impacted your life, good or bad. Remember what they did in your life. That also plays a part in how you compartmentalize this person as to what they mean to you, how they played a role in your life and shaping your identity. All right. It could be comforting or it could be discomforting depending on who they are and how they act. Now it says have a funeral that speaks to their personality. I don't know about all of that funeral business because that's when you only speaking of loss, of death, meaning. But you might want to have a funeral for this relationship, just so you can go ahead and go through the whole rigmarole of it all. Like maybe your funeral will be, I'm gonna take myself on a girl's vacation and go meet more people and just go enjoy myself and laugh and have a good time. I don't know. I'm gonna skip number 4 because that's not what we're talking about. Nope, number 5 either. What's that? Pop up. And know when to get help. It says coping with loss can be challenging. It may take a while, but we can learn to adjust to the reality without our departed loved one. Allowing yourself time to heal is one of the most important steps. Know the signs that you need help. For those with a history of depression, the grieving process may be more challenging. If a person has had depression before a loved one, has passed or moved on, they're more likely to experience complicated bereavement. But once embolizing grief goes more than 6 months, it's truly depression. Some may even experience depression for the first time. Blah 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 blah. There's no shame in getting the assistance you need. Simply ask for it. And yeah, blah blah blah. All right. So it do feel like that. And I feel like when the hermit is reversed, it's kind of like digging up a ghost out the graveyard, honestly, or some digging, calling on a ghost out the graveyard. You're gonna have to grieve that situation so that you can accept it for what it is. Now, if they revive it and they're not coming to you with this moon energy, which is all this confusion and delusion, if they come to you not be a cowardly lion, you know what I'm saying? If they start to grow up and they not confusing you, then yeah. But I'm getting that this would take a long time because this person is stuck in their childhood because they have people that enable them to be in their childhood. You can't be stuck so much in your childhood unless you're in that position to be that way. Scarcity. Yeah, this person does not make themselves available to you, and you need to be scarce with them. You need to not make yourself available. You need to hold yourself in high esteem to the point where your standards are so high, they have to work to reach you. And bottom of the deck is feeling safe. If you don't feel safe in this relationship, if you don't feel safe with this person, period, who can you feel safe with? This has a 4 on it. Feeling safe represents your foundation. If this person is not feeding into your growth, how could you possibly feel safe? So, reading what you just said, he's not like that. He don't approach. He always has to be right in everything, and his mom plays a big part. So, what does that mean? That means the likelihood of him showing up, coming towards you, and making things right are what? You know him better than I do, so you would have to answer that. What is the likelihood of him taking the proper action, coming towards you, and making things right? I'll wait. Okay, and what are you gonna do? Because if it's none and he waiting on you, what you gonna do? Keep doing what you did before, which is similar to the mother, right? This is surreal. When I tap, right? I'll put my tap first and see my tap later. Right. And I get, honestly, Dawn, I will say this. He may show up at some point in time and come toward you, but the likelihood of consistency is very low. That's the vibe I get from this. It's like you would show up if you look like you moving on and things ain't right with that karmic, which I don't feel like they are right, but you understand they're going poorly with the karmic. He would likely come to disrupt what you have, but not really show up like he should. You know what I mean? Like show up changed and whatever. This would be more like where you going? What you trying to do? Because this one once they kick it in too. Oh, is that Tyree song that keep playing in my head? Why you gotta act like that? That's what it is. It's Tyrese, I think. Something about making love and why you gotta act like that. Y'all know the song. Yep. He'll push his way through, get what he want, and then go back to doing the same thing he been doing. I think a lot of us know people like that. That just they stuck in their ways, and it works for them because they got somebody behind them keeping them in that childhood energy that allows them to behave like that. You know, if you got a mother that coddles her son, tries to make him a pseudo husband. There's nothing wrong. He could do no wrong. He could lay up in my house. He could not work. You know, he don't have to amount to anything in life. He could be a 50-year-old bum in my house as long as he in my house and that's my child and whatever else they say. And they still treat them like a boy. They don't have no. There's no incentive to grow up. And if they can find other feminine energies that will agree upon that, then they'll just bounce around to different people that won't hold them accountable for their actions, won't call them out, and won't say it's time to be a man. And they did those typically be your men washed up in their 50s, 60s. And I say washed up because just like we women when we were younger, and I want to say not our generation, prior to us, they had spinsters, right? They had these young girls who, if you weren't married by a certain age, is usually in your teens, you were considered washed up, used up. What you want with that? Nobody obviously wanted to marry her, or she don't want to marry nobody because here she is, 20 years old and not married. Crazy to me. Well, the other part is men can be spinsters too, but in a different way. Like I know a guy I went to college with, lives in my town. I know him. He cool peoples. But he if listen, I ain't gonna say his age because I gotta date me. And I'm not doing that right now on no national live YouTube, whoever watch. But my point is this. He's a man of a certain age, between the ages of 40, 50 years old. No kids, no woman to speak of. I don't know. I've never seen him paired with anybody, even when we were going to school together. So something is wrong with that picture to me when a man is not linked up with anybody for a long time, right? I don't really need to know or want to know what his issues are. I'm not attracted to him. I don't want a relationship with him. I'm good. But I see that as a red flag, a big red flag. And I don't think I'm the only one that sees that way. There are many women that might go for a dude, but then when you think about it, you step back like you ain't got no baby mama, you ain't got no ex-wife. Where's the last relationship you had? And they just out here. It is a little different because men typically link up with somebody. I don't know what to say, but um, even though he's married, it's given spinster because there's something about him not holding down a relationship properly and not loving people properly and not being in right relationships, dealing with karmic energies that feeding him, pouring to him toxicity like his mother does. People don't want to admit, even when they have trauma from their parents, that they tend to gravitate to the type of people that give them the same trauma. And conversely, if it's in a healthy relationship with the parents, they tend to want to gravitate to those that are healthy, unless they get caught up in something that they had never experienced and find their way of, hard time getting out, which is like a trauma bond or something like that. Good people that come from good stock and had the village and had the parents, so they can get caught up in a bad situation too. They just never been there before. Now they gotta fight their way out. But this is one of them situations where you don't necessarily this doesn't sound like a person that comes from good stock, where people loved each other and people weren't toxic with each other. And so they tend to gravitate to those that are toxic for them. Yep, because that's what's familiar and familiarity exactly. It doesn't have to feel good, just safe. But 9 times out of 10, those relationships aren't safe. That's the problem. They prey on you. They strip you down so far down that you don't know who you are after a while. If you ever knew, you don't know. Oh, wait a minute. I did reply. So why is it? See what I'm saying with these late requests? Late, not requests. Late images. And a lot of victims of toxic relationships, whether they're family or love relationship, romantic relationship, will all say, I don't know why I keep attracting or getting with this type of person. And it's usually related to that. And so a lot of them find themselves seeking a way out of that pattern, because once they're aware that they've come to this cycle over and over and over again, they want to finally get off of that wheel, because they realize none of it's ever been safe. They just go what's familiar, but it's not safe. What is going to happen is that they may, if it's toxic like violence, you're going to experience violence. If it's toxic like addictions, you're going to see that. You're going to see drugs or whatever. If it's toxic like financial abuse, somebody telling you they're going to take care of you and then holding on to all the money and keeping you stuck, and then you got to fight your way out of that relationship too. Or there's just all kinds of abuse that somebody will hold you into if you keep thinking that you can't leave, or you can't, let that go, or you can't find something better. hmm So I would implore you to think about this. Couple things. We'll start with one. What about this situation do you need, or do you think you require? Two, why do you think you require it? Why do you think you should have it? Or do you want it? That's another thing. That's another thing. Do you want it? And how does life look without it? How does life look without it long term? What could you see in the future? I know we're supposed to stay in the present, but I'm gonna ask you to look long range. How they say it, the typical interview question is, where do you see yourself in 3 years or a year or 5 years? Where do you see yourself? I'm asking you, like, where do you see yourself long range, 4 or 5 years in? Because I got you, Black Cherry. Because ultimately, you're gonna have to picture that as long as this person is coming up in this energy. If they coming up in this energy, you're gonna end up defeated by it. Because that's what this five of swords in reverse is about: defeat. You didn't win. You don't win. You don't win in this kind of energy. You don't even win playing with it. You win when you are scarce of it, when you leave it alone, when you back off of it, when you don't show up, when you're not around it. That's when you win because you win your peace. Yeah, we do that. Our childhood relationships definitely. What if I listen? We have all had some sort of wounding from our parents, whether we like to admit it or not, even in relationships that felt safe and perfect and blah, blah, blah. We had some wounding because our parents are not perfect. We might see them as perfect because we are their children, but they are not perfect individuals, right? Um, I feel like for me, the goal for me is to be very intentional in how I move, to think first and to act later, or more or less think before I let my emotions take over, put it that way. Um, and maybe it's the Virgo in my chart that analyzes some things a lot. Gemini, my Sag, I don't know. Maybe my Libra, I don't know. You know how that balance could be, right? But it's also it's something about I try my best not to allow others to trigger me, because then you get the emotional reaction, which is probably something I don't want to do. It's regardless of what they wanted from me. I don't want nobody pressing my buttons and trying to make me behave a certain way. I saw something recently from somebody I know, and it was like from a couple months ago. And I looked at it and I said, "What in the world was that about?" And I realized, oh, somebody was trying to trigger me. And I knew it was directed at me, but it was like, it just was weird to me. So I was like, it's making me question it. And Spirit was like, yeah, because they was trying to make you jealous. I said, oh. And I got a couple people in my life like that. They want to trigger me. They want me to be jealous of them. I don't know why. Maybe because they jealous of my relationships or my situation. I don't know, but I don't move in that energy. I'm not jealous. But you could trigger me to be angry. You could make me mad. You know what I'm saying? But then at the same time, I don't want nobody to make me mad. Like, I'm not okay with that energy no more. So we not about that. Let somebody just trigger, 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 trigger. And when they do, don't feel bad that they did. Just purge. You gotta cry about it. You gonna fight about it. Whatever you gotta do, just purge that energy. All right, Spirit, give me a message for Black Cherry. What she needs to know. What does she need to know? What do you- It will. It just takes a while, and we don't know when that time of acceptance comes. Um, all I can say is that acceptance can come in waves, and each time, because it's a time for me, it came in waves and layers. Each time I got to a different level of acceptance, the next level felt more at peace. Like I just kept feeling more and more and more at peace with staying away, standing back, minding my business, to the point where I really mind my business. Yeah, it's a peaceful feeling to accept. but it's not easy to gain that acceptance. People say, "Oh, it is just simple." Like the Buddha said, "Now it's just no, it's not easy. Not when you raised a certain way and been through a certain point in life. It doesn't become easy until you get there. Then it becomes easy. Once you arrive at acceptance, then it's easier to deal with the situation. But only once you arrive. And it takes a while to peel back the layers of control, your own pride and your own ego, like all of that stuff, how you wanted things to be, how you saw it going, all of those things take time to pull back. All right, Spirit, give me a message for Michelle. What is she? He gotta feel. See, when you get to acceptance, acceptance will tell you it don't matter what he feels. That's what I had to learn. They say you don't walk away to teach that person a lesson. You walk away because you learned your lesson. That's when it's acceptance. Not what he gotta feel so he can act different. No. Let him go act whatever the fuck way he wanna act. Period. And you go deal with you. Not concerned about what he gonna do, if he gonna do it. Not to say that's not gonna play on your mind, because it's natural for it do to play on your mind. But the acceptance, like once you get to acceptance, okay, because it takes a while. Once you actually get to acceptance, it don't even matter how they feel. Right, you might be keeping your distance period, but acceptance is not just about you keeping your distance. Acceptance is not caring if you see him or not see him. If you run into him, if he at the same hangout spot you at, it ain't gonna matter to you once you got into acceptance. That's what I'm saying. Like whether you run into him every day, y'all happen to work at the same job one day, it ain't gonna matter to you. Yeah, that's my ex-husband, or that's my ex, or that's my, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like, yeah, I mean, we keep it cordial, we good. Like Summer Walker and Usher said, we good, but we ain't good, or whatever they said. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't really care what you do. Nothing you do matters to me in that way it used to matter to me. Nothing you do is important to me the way it used to be important. I used to care if you had a boo boo. I used to care if you had a cold. I used to care that your drawers need to be washed and your clothes need to be washed. I used to care that did you eat today. Now, when you get to acceptance, it's like, well, they ate what they ate, whatever that is. You don't even think about what they ate and if they ate no more. You don't even worry about that because you're too busy concern yourself with you. All right, Spirit, give me a message for Michelle. Yeah, that emotion, you're right. See what I'm saying? Maybe you need to go back to school for psychology, or be a life coach or something. But seriously, when you pull your energy back, that's the first stage because you realize your energy, the commodity of your energy wasn't valued. That's that Six of Coins energy. There was a lack of equal give and take. That's your first red flag that you start to recognize. You pull it back. Okay, we're not doing that no more. Now, are they on your mind? Sure. You think about them? Yes. Does certain things hurt? Yes. Do you think about what will happen if they apologize? Yes. And then some you come to a point where maybe too much time has gone by, or the reality of who they are sets in. The reality of who they are sets in. And you start to think, wow, yeah, they're not going to show up because they ain't likely to take any accountability for their actions. You know what I'm saying? They're not actually going to apologize. Let me think. When have they ever apologized? That's less than a handful of times, or whatever the case may be, right? And it might have been a backhanded apology, like, or I'm sorry if that affected you, or I'm sorry, but you made me mad, or something like that. But you know, if you got a sincere, an original apology from this person, or you know that this person ain't shit, right? And then once you start unpacking their personality, that's when you think about them too hard. It's like, it's not that you will still love them. I feel like love don't die like that, right? That's just my opinion. Now, some people love do die. Like, nah, I hate that person or whatever. That's how they feel. But you think about him and you probably will get a bit of disgust after a while. You be like, damn, I ain't like the way that nigga chew his food. Excuse my language. I ain't like the way he chews his food. I feel like I'm talking to you on some, like, we in the same room kind of stuff. But I didn't like the way they chew their food. And sometimes I ain't like the way he even breathe. Sometimes his breath stink. You start thinking about that stuff and it start to perturb you a bit, like, and then you just don't even want them on your brain because you start thinking disgusting thoughts. They minute things. They're not really that serious, but it's like, ugh. I was like, his fingernails is dirty. I used to always tell him, clean them little nasty nails. You know what I'm saying? You start feeling like that, like, ew. Just sitting on the couch like Ted Bundy with a beer in his hand, watching TV. I thought, ooh, sloth. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it becomes hilarious. It's less of that trauma from it. It's more of the I could go do something else and sit there and watch that. Your mind starts to change. You know what I'm saying? The things that they ask you to do, then you start thinking, damn, I used to do all of this stuff. They ain't never did nothing for me. Or nothing that significantly impacts me. They start doing stuff. Well, they wanted you, because I'm gonna go back to the beginning and read it. They wanted you to take care of them, and you made it easy for them to sit in that role and allow you to take care of them. But then you realize you're taking care of a grown, capable individual who doesn't want to do that any of that for you. And that if you were injured, they just look at you like, what's wrong with you? You be all right. Get up, girl. Get up. Shake that off. You straight. They don't, did you eat today? Let me prop up your feet. Make sure you feel good. Consistently, not one time, not because somebody there looking and at or on the phone and ask what he doing. I mean, this is just naturally them because not my precious, not my precious don't feel good. You know, if you didn't get that kind of energy from that person, it's easier to start when you got time and space from them. You be thinking like, oh yeah, when they had the opportunity to do something for me, they never did it. So you gotta remember that red flag. You gotta think maybe they just don't have it to be what I need because I need that. I need somebody to nurture me like I'm willing to nurture them. Right? The math don't matter if it ain't that heart. That heart ain't balanced on that scale. Nah, nah. That's not what we doing. You're not gonna sit here and play with me, have me slaving at your beck and call, and you just like the moment I need you, you just like, well, I gotta go to work. I gotta make this money, and I don't know. You don't okay. If you can't be there, you don't think to call my mama or my daddy or my sister and them or somebody come look after my wife while I go out. Like even that is a good thought. I gotta go work, but I need somebody to check on me. That's that's still love. That's a version of love. But if all ever happened was one sided, you did, and then when you go to review, I like to do lists, pros and cons or whatever. But when you list, what did they do for you when they had a chance to do something for you, and it don't equate to anything that you've ever done? That person don't have it in them for you. because they more than likely are giving that kind of energy to other people who don't even deserve it from them or anybody else, because it's something that attracts them to negative people because that's where they came from. Right back to Monica was saying, that familiarity. I want to go impress these people because this person loved me, so they always gonna be impressed with me, or they always gonna be there, or they always gonna love me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go out here. Oh, oh, now my slip, girl. About popping. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know, y'all. I feel like we all have had some type of experience, whether we had the experience or maybe we watched it. Maybe we watched our parents go through it, get treated in a way that they didn't deserve, but they kept doing it anyway. And we gotta think about that. Well, why am I accepting it? That gotta go right in the laundry. That spot. There's a spot right here, ain't it? This? I don't understand. That's okay. That's interesting. But do you understand? You get where I'm coming from, right? I feel like we need, in order to purge and get to that area of acceptance sooner, there has to be a stage of anger that you go through, and you gotta allow yourself to be angry. That's what I had to do a couple of situations, is allow myself to be mad enough about it to not want it no more. Mad enough about it to release it. Find the things that really piss me off about it so I can be like, I don't want to feel like this no more. I don't want nobody in my energy that will not give me support when I need it to. Cause you know how we are. We the strong people, right? A lot of us that come on here, empathic individuals. People don't come to tarot for just no reason. Eventually you come when you got a sincere heart. You come because you're strong. And you also have a sixth sense of something. And you just want some confirmation and some validation from it, right? We're not weak by any means, but that doesn't mean you take on the world or a whole person who doesn't want to give back, who won't equally yoke you, you know what I mean, or whatever they call it. You won't meet you halfway. Like I can't put in 100 and you put in 2%. Like that's not how that's supposed to work. That's taking care of a child. If I'm putting in 100, you gotta put in 100, and we both rocking with 100. Fuck it. Ain't gotta be 50-50. We need to be put. If you giving 80 and I'm giving 70, at least we trying to meet each other in the middle, some kind of way. But ain't no way I'm doing 1,000 and you doing like 2%. Ain't no way. Oh, okay, 5%. You go to work. 10 more percent because you pay some bills, but not the most important bills, but you pay some. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's move on out of this energy. Spirit, give me a message for Rochelle. We didn't get there yet. Jeez, let me shuffle again. Right. Spirit, give me a message for Rochelle. What does she need to know? 4 wands. 2 wands. 7 wands. Swords. Hermit and 2 wands came out together. Bottom of the deck, 6 of cups. So this is back to children, I will say. Somebody still has some I want to give up feelings with the 7 of wands here. So the Four of Wands is the disruption in the household, is instability. And then the Seven of Wands is giving up. That's lacking courage and valor. Um, Peace. Two of Swords is making a hard decision or wrestling with a decision. And we got Princess of Swords is giving a child that's confused and unsure with the thing they should be doing. This also gives angry child. For me, I always get angry child. Um, yeah. And then we got Hermit and Two of Wands. So somebody is like at crossroads energy about what's the so it's a huge decision somebody's wrestling with, but somebody valor is in reverse. Like somebody is losing courage, losing faith, losing hope. Their boundaries are down. They don't feel protected. And it's a child because it's Six of Cups too. I need to ask them more time. Give me a message for Michelle. Yeah, I feel a heaviness right now. Hold on. This got to be addressed. And like yesterday, somebody need a rogation, a hair rogation. I'll explain that to you behind the scenes, but somebody needs a hair rogation. I gotta do it. Hold on. Yep. This is family unhappiness. Somebody is very unsatisfied. Tell me more. Unsatisfied with life. Justice in reverse. Yeah, so somebody is wrestling with a heavy decision and you need to get on that yesterday. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe you already doing it, but this would be justice in reverse. So somebody is trying to find peace, but their decisions are very skewed, I want to say, and unhealthy. It's a lot. It's a lot. So we got the Princess of Swords. So like I say, an angry child, somebody confused. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of give up energy. This got to be addressed from the deck. Hermit, which means like the outcome of Hermit too. But the likely outcome is somebody might be in hermit mode, thinking about stuff, but changing their life. So this is all the energy of karma, unhappiness in relationships. And I feel like this is love relationships from the past energy, right? Current energy is like, I don't know, I want to give up. I don't, like they don't want to take action about anything though. So even though they're giving up is lack of courage, it's also a lack of action. So that's kind of like okay because this is well, it's not okay, put it that way. This is depression. And then we got peace with justice in reverse. So somebody's considered something that would not be good karma. We got Four of Pentacles in reverse, Princess of Swords. So the Four of Pentacles in reverse is somebody confused, angry, wanting to give up, but they might be wanting to let something go too. But what they want to let go is what you need to get to the bottom of. And then you got changing their life. But this means somebody's probably going to be more recluse and more in depression type energy. Bottom of the deck, judgment. There is a second chance though. So I feel like all hope is not lost. It's just somebody mourning a bad relationship from the past. So it's either a child or from the past. What you still doing up? Why you going on?
That thing is completely empty, and I don't know why, but I'm gonna tell him to fill it up because what the heck?
Hurry up. Take your phone out of bed. You was supposed to already been in the bed. Um, Spirit, give me more on this. Okay, somebody's going to take action to change their life. And you know what I just heard? What they do now, what they do going forward is going to change a lot of people, but in a good way. How so, Spirit? I feel like in a motivational way, like motivational speaker kind of way. I don't know. Tell me more, Spirit. You you gotta get this checked out. You gotta get this checked out. Where this King of Cups head is at. It's time to get that. It's time to get that checked on a spiritual level. And rogation will help. Yeah, a rogation will help. They need prayers. They do need prayers. Um, yeah, they need prayers because somebody is emotionally torn up, but they want to change their life. It's like they want to heal, but they don't know how to heal it. So it's gonna take ongoing support to help that person heal. I don't believe that person is you. I believe that's a child. Spirit, tell me more. What shall need to know? Shine. Okay, I just heard this person needs to see who they are and how they shine. Like there may be, oh, okay. So Spirit said there's a lack of self-worth and they need to be like for lack of better words, put on a pedestal, but put on a pedestal, you know what I'm saying? Like they need to be boosted up a notch. Um, Whatever their talents are need to be revered and recognized and supported and all of that. Something about that. Intuition. Yeah, your intuition has been off the chart, Spirit said. Like you've been picking up on some things. It's time to act on what you're hearing. I don't know, you're being led. Tell me more, Spirit. And you're being led for your child because she's holding a baby. Scarcity. All right, tell me more, Spirit. Divine lineage. This is definitely a child because it's your lineage. And this person needs to know that they wear a crown too. Like who they come from. Oh, you might want to do a genealogy with this person, this child. You might want to do a genealogy on your side. Talk to them about um, the bloodline, where they came from. Maybe it's something they need to know about their ancestors that they don't know that would make them proud. Yes, awakening. That to me is like, yes, yeah, they need to know. Because inside of them is a rage, like they're raging because they lack. Let me give you a little story. And this doesn't mean that this is their situation. I'm just going to give you a example, but I mean to put it in a context. When I was in college and I was going through the domestic violence situation, I had called not my grandma, my grandmother's daughter, so my aunt. I called her and I said, Auntie, can you give me a sweet potato recipe? Because I've never made one on my own before, and I definitely want to make some. So as she was going through the recipe with me, it was almost like she was in my kitchen, and I just started telling her what I was experiencing. And she said, "Oh, your grandmother went through that with your grandfather." And I said, "What?" She said, "What you mean?" I said, "What you mean?" She said, "Your grandfather used to hit your grandmother." Now, y'all, I loved everything about this man, and I never seen him raise up on her a day in my life. But apparently, before I or even my mother was born, they had some domestic violence issues that caused her to have a breakdown. And she went into the hospital because she was talking to herself or seeing things or whatever. So she said, yeah, that's why none of us liked them, meaning her older set that she had before marrying him, or she, whatever they called it, right? And I was just so shocked because I'd never seen, I don't even remember if my grandfather raised his voice at my grandmother, much less hit her, right? Or domestic violence, whatever. So I was really kind of taken back. And I just remember myself saying, wow, well, she didn't suffer for me to go ahead and do this to myself and allow this to happen in my life. That was the stance I took, is that you might have been in my bloodline, but it don't have to be me. And I didn't know nothing about no breaking no generational curses. I just knew what I saw from them was soft love, peaceful love, no drama. Hearing that about him, even if though it was his past self, it was still kind of like, wow, I never would have thought it. And I had to make a conscious decision because my ancestors' lineage did not need to be my current lineage, right? And my grandmother suffered not for me to continue to do or be in no situation like that, because I didn't grow up around violence. So I was like, how did I find myself here? You know? So maybe there's some strength in his lineage that he can see that he needs to break the chains. He needs to see who he can be, right? There might be somebody in your family that was successful in something that he might be even interested in. And it's like, oh, wow, I didn't know we had somebody in our family that did X, Y, and Z. Maybe I could be like that. Something to look up to and look forward to at the same time. Like, I run a small business and I've been running it for a long time. Most of my siblings can't really say that, but there's some that have businesses now, right? But I found out that when I did a genealogy report, that my great grandfather, who came from China, went to Jamaica. He opened up a bakery, a bar, grocery store, something like that. He had multiple businesses. However, he had a vice. He drank too much. And when he drank, he gambled. And sometimes he gambled the bars away and then got them back. Something like that. Uh, I have a picture of him that shows him looking very prominent and very successful. I don't know where my grandmother was because he married her. I never even seen her to this day. But they got a picture of him looking very wealthy. And I was like, huh, that's an ancestor. I'm trying to, not trying to, he's not that I needed to be wealthy, like, but I do need to be wealthy and abundant, right? So I have an example from my past that has done it. Now, he might not have done all the right things with it, but he did arrive there some point. Different circumstances, all that. I get it. But you know what I mean? To know that that came from my bloodline was really kind of wow. It drives you. It drives you to know you're connected to greatness. And even if your direct parents aren't in their greatness energy, you can be. You can be like, I could go back a couple generations and see where greatness was, and I could go, wow. I could look back at my grandparents and what I did learn from them, and that is a legacy for me. So this person, I feel like they need to be sat down and told family history, amazing, situations that people overcame, so they can understand that they come from strength. They're not weak. I don't care what anybody say. I don't care what anybody caused. Yeah, they have a divine lineage, and that's where the challenge of the lesson is to explain to them what their divine lineage is, where y'all come from, where you hail from, what tribe. You can go all the way, if you, however far you could trace it back, and say we were strong people. You know how us African Americans say we all kings and queens. We may all not have been kings and queens, but we come from strength, and we can call ourselves any king and queen we want, because that's how strong and resilient we really are. Some people went through some poor circumstances, but they had billion kids and made it and survived and became grandparents, and their kids survived, and there's a couple of stragglers in there, and there's a couple successful entrepreneurs or doctors and lawyers or whatever in there too. And it's all about what were you going to emulate? What would you rather emulate? The strengths or the weaknesses? Because the weaknesses could be like, drugs and libation and being lazy and toxic and drama filled. And then the strengths could be independence, community oriented, um, supportive, clear minded, entrepreneurial, all of that. Wow, Museum of Kentucky. Yeah, so they need that divine history. So I have a child in my home right now sharing space with us, family member on my husband's side. And he's here for a little while, but he's a cousin, a blood relative. And um, I gotta sneak in the fact that he's 7'2". I love the fact that he's 7'2". He's such a big boy, but he's a sweetie. Um, his father and my husband talked tonight, and he told him things about his grandmother he never knew. He didn't even know that that cousin had a relationship with her, played music, that he never knew that she would ever came by and visited with her and did certain things like played albums for her and stuff like that. He said she ain't never showed no interest in that in front of him. But obviously she had a different relationship with this particular cousin. So, and it was fascinating to learn that she had a different side with a different person. He never knew that about his grandmother. So those key elements, like I found out my grandmother owned a duck. Now I found out, and since talking about it, it wasn't my grandmother's duck. It was my mom's duck, but my grandmother basically took care of it. Because my grandfather was the type of person that said, well, they want a duck, I'm going to go get them a duck. And he would go get them a duck. So they had a duck named Tony, and Tony used to run the yard, but he would only listen to my grandmother. So my grandmother said, stand back, Tony, let them in. Tony would stand back and let you in. But if my grandmother didn't get a cue, Tony was coming over there to harass you like what you want. We should. We could make a platform over here or somewhere else. We could pick a platform where we just commune. But we have to get back to our ancestors. We have to get back. I don't care what culture you come from. It don't matter. Family lineage is important. And if you don't have a good family lineage, it's still good to know what you don't want to do. Like I don't want to be an alcoholic, like one of my grandparents. Okay. I don't want to I don't know. I know what I don't want because I know what they did. You feel me? Don't, we open to suggestions because I know I would be a part of something, but I have learned my capacity is not to start everything because then I'll burn out and I don't have the bandwidth to initiate everything I will want to do. So if you start something, we can join. You feel me? Or we do it here. I don't know. They just sent me some collaboration things in an email today, actually. But I feel like a lot of that's all, to pay YouTube. So um YouTube ain't paying the bills enough for me. I'm just enjoying my time with y'all. But YouTube ain't no it ain't there yet for me. You said the sound is out. That might be your phone. If you're It's intriguing to trace that family line, to realize what you come from. It gives you a sense of pride. Like, damn, they went through all of that, and look at where I am. All right, y'all. Take that how it resonates. And as I always say, if it doesn't resonate, don't take it. You know my readings are straight, no chaser. That's my new slogan. Because it seriously is. Like I try to give it to you straight. I ain't messing around playing with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give it to you just like a TI is. It's better you know it that way than to be sitting here going, I don't know what they mean, and could it be me? And no, the goal is to know what we talking about, who you talking about. But I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna bid you adieu because I do have a class in the morning. I need to set the timer for, and I will I'll definitely come on tomorrow. I meant to do some readings today, but I had one of those days where I was so in and out all day. I never had a chance to sit down. As you can see, I was super late tonight. But I appreciate y'all sticking with me, hanging out with me. Y'all have a good night and see you next time. Peace.